All right, man, peace. So in the aftermath of Gennady Triple G Golovkin's extremely controversial split decision draw against Canelo Alvarez, everyone was expecting the rematch to take place last night on quote-unquote Cinco de Mayo. But due to the fact that Canelo Alvarez tested positive for the use of the performance-enhancing drug known as clenbuterol, Triple G was forced to take on Mr. Martisroyan. And for those of us who follow boxing, we know that Vanes is a skill fighter. He's not a top-notch level fighter or contender. He's not going to beat anybody who's great. He'll have a chance against good fighters because he's a pretty good fighter. But the result was pretty much what we expected. Triple G scored a very devastating knockout in the second round, which precipitated boxing legend Roy Jones to make an assertion that itself can be considered extremely controversial for those of us who've been watching fighting for the last 25 years or so. So anyway, they're going to talk about it, and I'm going to chime in. Now, did you hear what Roy Jones Jr. just stated? He said, I would have gotten disqualified for that. He was referencing the way in which Triple G knocked out Vanes Martirosyan, as we're going to see in the replay. He hit Vanes with a combination, very devastating. Vanes got down on one knee, and as soon as he was on one knee, Triple G hit him with another shot. But it was basically about a half second after Vanes got down on one knee. So what is Roy referring to? He's referring to the first loss of his career in which he was disqualified. He fought Montel Griffin, I believe it was like 1995 or 96. And the fight was relatively competitive or close, which was very rare for Roy Jones during that time period in the mid-90s, when he was arguably the most dominant fighter in boxing history. And he was able to hit Montel Griffin with a series of punches, and Montel eventually got down on one knee, and Roy came and hit him twice. I believe hit him with a right hand and a left hand while Montel was on one knee. The man looked like he was praying. And of course, Roy Jones got disqualified. It was the first loss of his career, and he rebounded by scoring a devastating knockout of Montel Griffin within 33 seconds of the second fight. No, it was not. As we're going to see in the replay, it was extremely close to when Vanes went down on one knee that Triple G hit him again. Go back and watch the Roy Jones versus Montel Griffin fight. Montel Griffin looked like he was in a Catholic church on one knee, and Roy going to come and hit him with a two-punch combo while he was on one knee. And this was like 5 seconds after the man got down on one knee. It's not even a comparison, but I understand why Roy is still mad about that.
Triple G, in his desire to score the knockout, was, if anything, overzealous with a fighter on his knees in front of him and landed a shot when Martirosyan was technically already down. And that may have been the finishing shot. Pretty close. I'll have to look at the replay to see.
I don't think it was the finishing shot. That was a very devastating combination that Triple G hit him with before he even went down. He was done.
See whether Martirosyan actually was on the canvas or was in the process of going down. I wouldn't DQ a fighter for that, nor should you have been DQ'd. But technically, I believe he hit.
I didn't like seeing Roy Jones get disqualified for that blow, but that was very, very blatant what he did to Montel Griffin. Very blatant.
Hit him when he was down. We'll see. Either way, he's got a new knockout streak of one. Here's another look.
Great weave by Triple G there to avoid the jab. He's going to come back with a right uppercut, which you very rarely see in boxing. Fighters who are able to counter the jab with a right uppercut, and he does it from appropriate range too. He doesn't throw the right uppercut from too far out. You have to be very careful. If you throw an uppercut from too far out, many fighters have been knocked out with left hooks because they threw their right uppercut from too far out.
Once again, that uppercut that caused the problems early, hit him right on the chin with a beautiful uppercut. Doesn't get any better than that, Jim. Now you see him coming in for the attack. Overhand right over the top, which fighters that got caught with seven.
Now, did you see what Vanes did there? Right before he got hit with the right hand, he already knew it was coming. He was squinting his left eye. And that's the difference between decent to pretty good fighters and great fighters. He has very poor waist movement. For great fighters, when they anticipate an overhand right like that, they're going to duck down, they're going to step away. Vanes squinted because he knew the blow that was coming, and his body did not allow him to react appropriately to avoid the punch.
Time before, he comes back with a jab, another jab, a good jab.
See, now a great fighter right now is utilizing waist movement. Vanes is trying to tuck his chin behind his left shoulder, but that doesn't work unless you have waist movement. And that's what people don't understand about the Mayweather defense. What makes Mayweather so great with the quote-unquote Philly shell defense or the quote-unquote Mayweather style of defense is his great waist movement.
To set up the right hand again. Another great shot. Followed by tap right hand, a big left hook, and that pretty much killed Vanes right there. Followed by right hand, but Vanes was out at that point. Another hook, boom, and now Vanes is done. And there's a right hand, he's down right down the road, and here's a...
As you can see, Vanes had literally just touched his knee to the canvas when Triple G hit him with the right hand to the head, that last right hand, which Roy is trying to compare to what he did to Montel Griffin, and it's not even close. And I got love for Roy. Roy was one of my favorite athletes of the 90s, but no, brother, no.
Well, he was going down, so it wasn't that bad.
I don't think his knee had reached the canvas, but the glove may have. Technically, he's down the moment that the glove touches the canvas.
Yeah, let's look at it again.
Haven't watched that. If the ropes are holding you up, you're down.
That's right.
And I think the ropes are holding him up, but guys, that was a clean knockout, even if it was a little messy at the end. That would never, I think, rise to the level of DQ if it's called properly.
I totally agree.
Now, if you want to see a dirty knockdown, go look at that blow that Rocky Marciano hit Jersey Joe Walcott with. He hit him with what's considered probably the greatest right hand in boxing history to knock him down. And literally, Jersey Joe Walcott was knocked out on one knee. He had his right hand on the ropes. And Rocky Marciano, as he was heading to the neutral corner, hit him with a right hand to the back of the head again.
Totally agree, and you've got an excellent referee in there to make the call. Jack Reese is one of the very best. Now here's Reese. As the count reaches 9, 10.
Please, you could have counted to 100. Vanes ain't want any more.
And he waves it off. And Golovkin seems to let out a little air. Relaxing, finally, after all the turmoil and the tension.
Look at Don King old ass. Only in America. Hey, now look at Don King's chain. You'll see he also has the Hamza hand on one of his chains there. Once again, in the entertainment industry, one of the main forms of spiritual inclination is Buddhism, as well as many of the esoteric Eastern religions. That's what they abide by. That's what they venerate behind closed doors, believe it or not.
And the decision-making he's had to go through in these last few months. And now let's go to ring announcer Joe Martinez with the particulars on the KO.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end comes at the official time. 1 minute, 53 seconds, round number 2. Referee Jack Reese reaches the count of 10 for your winner by KO victory. He is still unified middleweight champion of the world, Triple G, Gennady Evans, Golovkin.
If Golovkin never wins another fight, he's up there with Hagler, he's up there with Bernard Hopkins, he's up there with Sugar Ray Robinson amongst the greatest middleweights of all time.
First round wasn't his best. Second round was a wipeout.
And Carlos Monzon, let me not forget him.
Ultimately, the result is what most ringside observers expected. An early to middle rounds knockout for Golovkin. Final CompuBox numbers, Golovkin closed the show, landing 11 of 15 power shots. Roy Jones with his brilliant analysis of the power barrage that ultimately put Martirosyan away. He doubles Martirosyan and landed punches. He throws 11 more. He lands at a 43% overall connect rate. He reinforced his reputation as the #1 jabber in the sport, as he lands 16 out of 30 power shots, 53%. You know what we've told you over the years about a fighter who lands more than 50%.
I don't know where they came up with this notion that Golovkin is the #1 jabber in the sport. He has a good jab. But there are fighters out there who have a better jab than him. Terrence Crawford has a better jab than Golovkin does.
Of his power shots, he lands 20 jabs in less than 2 complete rounds. Again, he's the only fighter counted by CompuBox in boxing who lands more than 10 jabs per round. And all of that is part of what makes him very, very difficult to beat. 38-0-1 with 34 knockouts. He stands by now with Max Kellerman.
Congratulations, Gennady. How does it feel to get a knockout under your belt? It's been a minute.
I feel great. I come back.
Gennady, Vanes came over to me a moment ago and said, that is the hardest puncher I've ever faced. Do you feel like you had your power back tonight? Why weren't you able to do this in your last two fights?
Excuse me.
Because Vanes Martirosyan is a B-class fighter. His last two fights, he fought A-class fighters. And against Canelo Alvarez, who the hell knows what he was in there with? He might have been in there with a damn with a damn pit bull in boxing shorts. Who the hell knows what Canelo Alvarez had pumping through his bloodstream in that fight?
Give me a chance. Just I want to first of all, thanks. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, my friends from Kazakhstan, my family, and of course, my all fans of the world. Thank you very much. It's huge support. And of course, yeah, Vanes, he is a very good fighter. He punched me a couple of times, you know, just after the first round, I said, this is serious business. This is a serious fight.
That's what it looked like. It looked like he got your attention at the end of the first round, and you came out all business in the second.
Absolutely. This is my second round is all business. First round, just I'm looking just his strategy because I know his team, very good team. Congrats, and just, you know, just second round, this is true business.
Given the date at which Canelo had to pull out of tonight's fight that was supposed to take place in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and I had one of Canelo Alvarez's mega fans come on and make a comment on one of my videos where he stated that Canelo's been exonerated because they checked his hair samples and there was no trace of clenbuterol in his hair samples, so that proves that it was due to tainted meat. Look, the Nevada State Athletic Commission is going to protect Canelo Alvarez. He is the #1 cash cow, the #1 moneymaker. They're going to do whatever they can to slowly but surely rebuild his name in the sports world so that he can get back to business. He was not supposed to get caught. That was a fuck up on the part of his conditioning coach or whoever it is who's assisting him in his conditioning.
You had to come up with a last-minute replacement opponent. Vanes has a name. He's a good fighter. He's a known fighter. He has a pleasing style, so it's understandable that he's a replacement opponent. But now this fight is over. The middleweight division is chock full of opponents who suddenly seem willing to fight you. What do you want to happen now?
I want everybody. First of all,
I want everybody. Anybody who put on boxing gloves, I fight. I'll fight everyone. Mexican style.
this is belt. This is Cinco de Mayo. Thank you, WBC family. This is big gift to all people. So congrats, guys. Just Cinco de Mayo forever.
When you say everyone, obviously the hope would be a Canelo rematch on Mexican Independence Day weekend.
And Canelo needs that rematch just as much as Triple G does. Don't let the boxing fanboys fool you or many of the members of the boxing media. Canelo needs that rematch. They're going to try to act like he doesn't, but he does.
Is that what you're interested in?
Absolutely. He's ready. Just I'm ready every time.
Are there any other middleweights out there who you'd be interested in making a fight with?
It doesn't matter for me. I'm still champion last 9 years.
Well, you should fight Charlo, but we both know you're not going to fight him, so it should be Andrade because you already beat Jacobs. So Andrade, if he's on point, if he take that stupid-ass nose ring out of his nose, he should be trying to challenge Triple G right now. He should have been at the fight and try to bum rush the ring because that would have got him the fight that he claims that he wants.
Years, just I have a lot of belts. Just guys, just come and just take my belt.
But the reason I ask for names now is because a couple years ago, the division didn't have a lot of interesting fighters. But now Daniel Jacobs has made a real name for himself. Charlo is there. Andrade's around.
Andrade is a fighter. That's who you need to fight, Triple G. He's ready to fight you. He's a relatively big name in boxing circles, that is, highly skilled fighter. And he could prep you for Charlo, even though Andrade's going to be a little trickier because he can switch stances. He can fight southpaw. He can fight orthodox. Andrade would be a great prep for Charlo.
There are suddenly a lot of good fighters in the division. Are there any of those named fighters who are elite fighters that you would like to fight?
Hopefully, we're very soon see you this fight with these guys. It doesn't matter for me with who.
to clean out the division.
Absolutely.
Gennady,
And I believe him when he says that. I give Golovkin credit.
Gennady, thank you very much. Good to see you again. Hope to see you in several months in the ring with Canelo. Thank you.
I don't need to see the Canelo fight again. I would prefer to actually see either Charlo or Andrade, believe it or not. Because Canelo, to me, he's a talented fighter, but he's someone who's certainly protected. And he's a tweener. He's not tall enough to really fight at 160, but he doesn't want to go back to 154 because he can't deal with the weight loss.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everybody, for your support, and congratulations for Cinco de Mayo. Thank you, guys.
Mexican style.
Jim.
That's why he's so popular. Roy Jones, let's take another look at the knockout sequence. This is a traditional angle replay. Then we're going to take a look at another one. But once again, run us through what happened here.
Well, he was going at him. He had him hurt. He knew he had him hurt. There were a big left hook right there. That took the fight out of him. That's another right hand. That left hook definitely took the fight out of him. He looked like he was down, and then he threw a shot. Now, we couldn't tell that the knee was down or not. But in this new angle that we've never seen on camera before, it's going to tell us something different. There's a right hand, another tap followed by the big left hook, boom, which ended the fight pretty much. A straight right hand, another hook right there, and down goes the knee, and down the knee, and here comes the right hand. Roy Jones Jr. would have been brutally disqualified if that was Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. I don't care what nobody tell me.
Nah, Roy, you wouldn't have been disqualified for that. He literally was open up to throw the right hand before the knee even touched the canvas. He was open up. Now, the blow didn't land before the knee touched the canvas, but he was opening up to throw the blow. You still mad about something from 22 years ago, brother. Come on now.
If he was in the state of New Jersey and that happened, he would be disqualified. However, I don't think he should be disqualified because I think he...
Because y'all must have forgot. Y'all must have forgot what Roy did 22 years ago. I mean, it's unbelievable. Still, I watched that, got flashbacks, Jim.
I think he had pretty much...
No matter how many times we have this conversation, your DQ against Montel Griffin is never going to go away, nor is the 33-second knockout you scored in the revenge fight ever going to go away. You know?
We talk tonight. Pensacola, talk tonight.
Roy, what does this knockout mean to Golovkin going forward, we presume, toward a possible rematch with Canelo?
Yeah, we're looking forward to a possible rematch with Canelo. And the smart thing Golovkin did tonight was he did not allow Varnish to get the ring rust off. Anytime you got a guy that's been out of the ring for 23 months, you don't allow him to get his ring rust off, and then he won't be a problem to you. And you have to commend Gennady Golovkin for doing that. Now,
Well, Golovkin don't play. Once he sees that you're hurt, he gonna get you the hell up out of there.
Now looking forward, we hope to see him against Canelo in September on Mexican Independence Day. However, if that doesn't mature, then we probably want to see him against Danny Jacobs again.
Nah, Andrade, I don't need to see him against Jacobs again. No disrespect to Jacobs, but Jacobs had a hard time knocking out his last opponent. He's got good skills, he's got good power, but I'd rather see Jacobs against Charlo and Golovkin against Andrade, and the winner of those two fights face each other. I don't even care if he ever fights Canelo again.
There is a guy named Billy Joe Saunders who's also a very intriguing opponent. And there's another guy by the name of Charlo who's an intriguing opponent. So I hope that these people in boxing will start to let the fighters, the networks, get together on behalf of the fighters so that the fighters can take the best fights possible or the best fights out there for them.
All right, Roy. Turning to Max Kellerman, as you did that post-fight interview with him, I could almost feel the sigh of relief that was emerging from not just Gennady, but everybody who surrounds him coming off of this. After all, he took a giant risk here. He already lost more than $20 million in the short run when the Canelo fight went down. If he'd gotten beaten here tonight by Martirosyan, he would have lost the $20 million for good. So this...
He didn't take no risk fighting no damn Martirosyan. Just knock it off, man.
This was important for him. What do you think it does for him going forward to the rematch?
What it does for him is it keeps him sharp. He wants to stay active. And it's good for him to stay active. He's, 36, 37 years old? He can't take off 8 months waiting on no damn Canelo.
Maybe it's more of a risk to wait too long and sit on the shelf.
Exactly.
How many more fights does a guy at the age of 36, you fight 2 or 3 times a year? This is where you make your money. If you're Triple G, he's fought his whole career to get to this point. And Martirosyan was the biggest name that represented the least risk that they could find. And so you got a result like this. But, you know, I think about Canelo, and I think about the rematch, that you've got to figure there's so much money it's going to happen. And I think about the way Triple G and his camp we're talking about Mexican style. Chavez Rosario was a fight they brought up, the great Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., of course. And that's the way they wanted to fight. But against Daniel Jacobs, Gennady, who's a very good, technically aggressive fighter, played it a little safer than we normally see him play. And
yeah, it's called respect. He had respect for Jacobs. Jacobs has strong pedigree.
And fight. And that's because Daniel Jacobs is a dangerous fighter, world-class fighter, and a good boxer in his prime. And it was the same thing with Canelo. When he had Canelo on the ropes, he didn't go for broke.
Well, I think he felt Canelo's power. I think he felt Jacobs' power also, and he understood he couldn't just dive in there.
He didn't get in there the way Chavez did against Rosario and stay in there. He kept them at arm's distance, because you got to be careful with guys like Daniel Jacobs and obviously Canelo Alvarez. They can box, they can punch, they're elite for a reason. But I want to show you something tonight. You just saw the replay earlier. I want you to see it again. This is Triple G tonight against Vanes Martirosyan. He has Martirosyan against the ropes, and this is how he attacks a fighter where he feels he doesn't need to worry as much about what's coming back. He goes in to end the fight. I'm not suggesting that Triple G needs to open up with wild shots against top-notch technical fighters, but there's a certain kind of mentality that he's brought to this fight that he brought to fights previous to the Daniel Jacobs fight that has been absent since. Is it because he is now fighting in Jacobs and Canelo, top-notch fighters, and Martirosyan is more similar to the fighters he just plowed through? Can he regain that kind of mentality against fighters like Jacobs and Canelo if they have a rematch Mexican Independence Day weekend? Can that Triple G show up Mexican style?
Well, you already answered your own question. Why would he fight the same way against fighters of different class? What great fighters do is they adapt according to the opponent that they're facing, Max Kellerman. You already know that. Stop asking idiotic, hypothetical questions.
There's a certain recklessness that needs to be a part of the real Triple G.
Correct.
All right, thanks very much.
So in other words, you're telling him how to fight. No, sir, it doesn't work like that.
Thanks very much, Max Kellerman. So every time we come here, we expect something unusual. We expect something exciting. And we got it in the first of these two fights, the very first women's fight we've ever shown on HBO.
Yeah, because you guys are desperate. You pretty much alienated all the other boxing promotional companies, so you can't even schedule top-notch fights anymore. HBO's on its last legs in regards to boxing. So now you have to open up your fight cards with female boxing. It's a damn joke.
Kaylee Reese knocked down Cecilia Braekhus, number one.
You don't even know the bitch's name.
Number one woman fighter in the world who had never previously been knocked down. That automatically put into the back of your mind, is something strange going to happen in Golovkin Martirosyan? Before the fight, we learned from people in Martirosyan's camp that he asked his wife to stay home in Glendale tonight rather than to come here, just in case it turned out badly for him. And in the fight, Triple G showed you the reason why Vanes Martirosyan asked his wife to stay home.
Oh boy, Jim Lampley about to cry like a bitch again.
Moment, a knockout force. What will he be in the fall? And who will he fight? After a few days ago saying there was only a 10% chance that he was going to go to the rematch with Canelo after this, when Max Kellerman asked him about it in the ring moments ago, he said, oh yes, sure, absolutely, I want everyone. For the sake of boxing fans and boxing excitement, that's what we want to. Thanks very much for being with us on this edition of HBO's World Championship Boxing.
All right, so that's pretty much it on that. We'll see where Triple G's boxing career takes him from here. Most likely he is going to have the rematch with Canelo in September. But I think, or at least me as a fight viewer, I prefer to see him fight Mr. Demetrius Andrade. But we'll see what he does. Anyway, peace.